Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Kabir Considers. In this video, we're going to react to 8 things not to do when you visit the USA. So, obviously I've been to the USA a few times, but I've not really kind of watched any of these things not to do. So I'm kind of concerned that I've actually done some of these things.
Hey guys, France may be the top tourist destination in the world with almost 90 million tourists a year. But the US is not that far behind with around 77 million tourists a year. So it's safe to say there are a lot of non-Americans who will be visiting the land of cheeseburgers. So with the summer coming up, and as an American, which I feel like that pretty much makes me an expert on the subject, I thought it was a perfect time to do a what not to do video and give you some tips of things you should shy away from when visiting good old America. Don't forget to like the video, please subscribe to my channel, and of course leave your comments below. Little spoiler alert, I had so many tips. We'll absolutely do a part 2 at some point. So if you think there's something major I left out of this video, don't hesitate to leave it below so that I make sure it gets into the second one. All right, let's go. Most people don't like strangers, getting too close to them, which seems kind of logical. It creeps out everybody. However, in the US, where we already love things that are massive, we also love our massive personal space bubble. So everyone has, a space that feels personal to them, but scientists have proven that in the US, we not only have a space that is much larger compared to our counterparts in France and Western Europe, but also Americans have a very low tolerance for people invading that space. So don't start off your vacation with an expensive trip to the hospital because you unknowingly stood too close to somebody on an
They punched you in the face. She's funny.
Subway. Just take my advice, and any randos that you might meet along the way, be standing next to in line, just keep a 1 meter distance and you'll be fine.
Fair enough.
Guys, don't insult the US. It is so not worth it. Even the Americans who understand where you're coming from are gonna be super patriotic. We're just a much more patriotic population than France, and we don't have the same debate culture. So you're not really gonna come off as like funny and witty. Most people are just gonna think you're a total arse. And if you make the mistake of doing it like in a bar, when people are tipsy, in the South, like Texas, don't say I didn't warn you. It's not gonna go over well. So just stay away from that subject. It's a bit like the family. Like, I can criticize my family, but I don't want to hear you criticizing them.
Right.
That's kind of...
Which is fair enough. To be fair. Especially if you're there. Like, yeah.
US in a general nutshell, so just stay away. All right, all you lovers heading to the US on vacation, please keep your tongues to yourself. In France, you'll often see people smooching, couples laying on the grass, rolling around together, putting on lots of public displays of affection for anybody who happens to walk by and see. That's really not the case in the US. We are so prude. And I know, we love violence and guns. However, we find it weird to talk about sex. I think it's kind of bizarre, but it is.
Is that true? Even in 2024, PDA is frowned upon? I guess it must depend where you are. I guess if you're in a super religious state, maybe. But somewhere like New York, LA, I saw plenty of PDA. Not plenty. I saw couples holding hands and the odd kiss here and there, but it didn't seem like people were shy.
The truth. So just kind of tone down the public displays of affection that you're used to in France. We're totally okay with hand holding, like closed mouth kissing here and there, a little butt grab, you can do the cheeky butt grab and it's okay. But save the rest for the hotel room. I mean, no one's gonna arrest you if all your clothes are on, but you're gonna get a lot of like parents glaring at you while they cover their kids' eyes, or old ladies on the bench giving you the side eye, so You know, just tone it down, it'll be fine. It's actually illegal in Washington state to skip the line, to cut the line in front of everyone to grab the ferry. You get fined for it. I know in France you're more about bending the rules and interpreting.
In England, we're like that too, in terms of if there's a queue or a line, you stick to the line. We call it a queue. If you try and cut in the queue, people are going to let you know. It's a douchey thing to do, isn't it? Just wait your turn.
Things as you see fit and kind of saying like, okay, I'm running late. It's not a big deal. I'll piss everyone off, but who cares? That just doesn't fly in the US. We generally tend to be a population that follow the rules, and we take it pretty offensive if you break the rules, especially when it impacts us. So I would just recommend when you see a line, just get in the back of the line and kindly wait your turn. Otherwise, I think you risk to have some pretty aggressive arguments with the people that you're cutting in front of. The US does not mess around when it comes to IDs. You'll see signs everywhere that say, we card if you look under 65, which pretty much means if you don't look like...
If you look under 65? Is this true? It's just a waste of time. Surely, because drinking age is 21. So if someone looks 30 or over, don't waste your time. I mean... But I guess maybe it's a legal thing. Is it a legal thing?
Grandparent, they're going to ask you for ID when you buy alcohol, when you're getting cigarettes, if you want to go into a club. Extra tip, if you're buying alcohol, for example, and you bring a friend with, even if they're not paying or grabbing the alcohol, the cashier can still ask for their ID as well. And if they can't prove they're of age, they won't sell to you. So honestly, when you leave the house, no matter what you're doing, just make sure that like your entire crew and the dog has an ID. Public transportation in the US, like trains and buses, is an absolute joke. Like seriously, nothing compared to what you have in France and in Europe.
What?
Check out the
An hour and 15 minutes for the bus. Jesus.
Netflix comedy skit that I put in the description below. It's mind-blowing, and it explains why public transportation, or at least some of the reasons why public transportation is so terrible in the US. And shocker, it's mainly related to rich old white men wanting to make more money. But anyways, if you aren't in cities like Washington, D.C., Seattle, Boston, Chicago, New York, San Fran, honestly, it's just not worth it. You shouldn't depend on public transportation. Just rent a car. Most Americans drive anyway, so it'll be like the real American experience.
Yeah, but the traffic in LA was awful. It was awful. We drove from Vegas to LA, and it was meant to be a 4-hour trip. It took us 7.5 hours. As soon as we started approaching the LA metro area, the traffic was just gridlock. It was so painful.
If you do decide to rent that car, please brush up on the rules of the road in the US. It is not quite the same as in France. We don't have the same priority to the right. You know, sometimes the stoplights are after the intersection instead of before the intersection. Just, you might end up in an accident if you don't, or pissing someone off who has major road rage. Also, I would not recommend engaging in road rage. US drivers can be really aggressive. It's not worth it, especially not when you're on vacation trying to have a good time. So stay safe, stay calm, keep these fingers down, and
She's funny.
watch
She's really
out
funny.
if you're in Miami, because they are known for being the most aggressive drivers in
Really?
the US.
Miami,
Finally,
they're the
don't
worst.
expect to sit at a restaurant for hours in the same way that you could in France, especially if you're not ordering food. I know you can, have a 3-hour lunch in France, or you can order an espresso and sit in a cafe for 3 hours without ordering anything else, but it's not necessarily the same in the US. Any
they
dinner
want
at
in
a
and
restaurant
out.
over an hour long is considered long for Americans.
Really?
In the US, it's all about churning tables, and they want you in that restaurant to eat, and they want to get you out as quickly as they can. Feel free to stay if you're
Yeah, I prefer a longer, sort of more relaxed meal though.
ordering more food and more drinks, but as soon as that slows down, the waitress will politely bring you your bill and expect to get her tip and get paid and get you out of there. All right, guys, that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed the video.
Great video, super interesting. The wanting to churn the table thing. Thinking about it, Yeah, we experienced that one time. So in this diner in New York, they did seem to be quite sort of rushy. The food was really good, but I'm guessing because it wasn't a proper sit down restaurant, maybe they expected us to take less time than we did. We were in there like soaking it all up and stuff like that. But every other place that we ate was really, really chill. Like we ate at this restaurant in Hudson Yards called Peak, and that was really, really nice. Really relaxed, great view. The road rage one was quite funny. So because I want to go to Miami, so now I know if I'm in Miami, I really need to relearn the rules of the road in America, just so I don't piss anyone off. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.